have a really nice crowd this morning. I'd like to thank you for coming and joining us today. I'm Karen Simon. I'm the Executive Director of the Chamber of Manitowoc County, and we're very pleased to host this forum. We have a nice attendance from our different candidates for both the county, our two from the city, and then also our county representatives. So we still have, there's probably going to be about 25 more people rolling in about any minute, hopefully, but they're running a little bit late, so we think we need to just get started. So I guess without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you Steve Shellman, a member of our legislative committee, who is going to be our moderator for the forum today. So please help me welcome Steve.
Welcome to everybody. As Karen mentioned, my name is Steve Shellman, and I drew the short straw to be the moderator today. We'll talk a little bit just about what the game plan is for today, and then we'll move into our initial discussion with the county executive position candidates. So today's agenda will comprise of position statements from the candidates candidates for the Manitowoc County executive position. Each candidate will be allowed 2 minutes for a general overview and position statement about their candidacy. This will be followed by a series of 3 questions posed to both Mr. Green and Mr. Ziegelbauer. They will again have 2 minutes to respond to each question. Abby has a stopwatch for you guys' benefit, and she will hold up a yellow sheet after 1 minute and 30 seconds. And a red sheet at the 2-minute mark when your time is up, and we ask you to abide by these timelines. As for the audience, we ask that you refrain from cheering or applause throughout the entire session today. We will have time, or we hope to have time for several questions from the audience after the county executive position candidates have addressed the 3 questions that they were provided ahead of time. After the county executive portion of the program, we'll move on to county board candidates. And this year we're doing things a little bit differently. We're going to have a round table format for this part of the event. And let me explain that. Candidates have all been assigned a table to sit at. Each candidate will stand at their table and address the entire group with a 2-minute introduction and position statement. Once again, we'll be monitoring the time for them, and we'll cut you off if you go over. After all the candidates have spoken, each will be allowed 4 minutes at the respective table to answer questions or further explain their views. Then after the 4 minutes, then it's going to be Chinese fire drill, so to speak, and the candidates will move on to another table. Can we address which direction, Karen or Abby, or we're just going to kind of play that by ear?
We'll play it by ear.
Okay. Okay, so to get things started, I'd like to introduce the candidates for Manitowoc County Executive for their opening statements. Mr. Kurt Green will let you start first, followed by Bob.
I apologize for not having a written statement using my laptop. My daughter is currently in labor with my first grandchild, and shortly after this, I'm going to be skipping out. Change in leadership. This has been the hue and cry of the citizens of our state. They made their voices heard through the ballot box in the last 2 statewide elections. Our county government has grown unsustainably. We have neglected our roads, accruing debt at a rate which we will be paying for the next 12 years. Change in leadership. We've recently been informed of the loss of 150 more jobs in our community. Our current politician in office has taken no steps over the last 8 years to enhance our business climate. Again, taking advantage of and credit for the governor's changes is not leadership. The unilateral nonsense coming from the current politician in office stating his reasons why we can't work with the EDC is typical of his lack of leadership. Adding a large number of jobs to the county's payroll in the last few years and paying for them with the governor's required changes, raising fees and shifting the burden to the state and federal government is not putting Manitowoc County on a path to prosperity, but brewing a recipe for old-style bloated government. We're there. The government he has created as a career politician. change, and leadership. With the help of our county board, I will reduce the number of jobs in our county within 6 months by beginning the process of restructuring our management. 4 co-directors of the Human Services Department is not an option in my plan, and restructuring the areas of emergency and other public services, the areas of my expertise, will begin immediately. It's long overdue. I will also sell the administration building on South 9th Street as we simply don't need it. 5 employees are in that building with thousands of square feet. Our City Hall has 9,000 square feet of empty office space. I believe Mayor Nichols and the City Council would be anxious partners in utilizing this space. Perhaps that will be the beginning of what each of our governments needs: partnership and cooperation.
Mr. Green? Sorry. Okay, thank you. Bob?
Good morning. I've worked for you for the past 8 years, and I had a stroke on Thanksgiving Day, but luckily my mind was not affected. I spent 2 weeks in the hospital and returned to work shortly before Christmas. I am fine except for aphasia, which causes stuttering. I am undergoing speech therapy, which shows improvement every day. Please bear with me, and thanks for your patience. When I took office, there are many pressing issues which faced the county. We have worked with the county board and have made good decisions and solved those issues. Today, the county is in the strongest financial position it's had in many years. You know me and what to expect from me. I work hard. My approach is honest and straightforward. I value accountability, respect, and customer service. I strive to hold the line on property taxes and have done that for the past 8 budgets in a row. My goal is to provide high-quality, affordable government services to promote the common good of our entire community. And I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ziegelbauer. Now we'll move into the 3 questions that all the candidates were provided with in advance. Question number 1 was, or is, what would your long-term plan for the airport be, including your vision for the airport over the next 10 years? So, Mr. Ziegelbauer, since you let Mr. Green go first last time. Once again, 2 minutes, gentlemen.
The airport is vital to our community. It is a modern facility, and it is heavily funded by the federal government. The previous operator of the airport, called a fixed base operator, went out of business. We stepped in and are running a full-service airport as before. Things are going smoothly and revenues are covering the expenses. So no tax levy is required to operate the FBO. We plan to continue to operate the FBO in the near future, and we plan to turn it over to a private operator after a full-blown request for proposals is issued. We expect that we will enter into a long-term lease at that time. We are supportive of the airport, and it is infrastructure vital to our community.
Rather than jump up and down each time, I'm just going to let you take the podium from there.
Okay. I agree. The airport is very important in our community. I simply raised the question of how much funding is too much for the airport, and should we have citizen input on whether or not we should develop a strategic long-term plan for the airport. When he mentions heavily funded by the federal government, the first word that was out, the first number I was given was $11 million. I spoke with the highway commissioner last night. It's closer to $15 million. I spoke with Chuck Benke this morning, and he's my opponent is partially correct. There is a budget that is fairly tax neutral. But what he's not telling you is that there are two budgets for the airport. This came from Chuck Benke this morning. There's the airport operating fund and the FBO. The airport operating fund has a $160,000 local tax levy attached to it. I don't think that's exactly the truth. All I'm simply saying is at what point, 20 million, 30 million, $40 million of federal money do we begin to ask the taxpayers what is economic benefit? I am for keeping the airport open, and let's not misconstrue that. The fact is, I believe that when we get to the $15 million of federal money that we're looking for, that's coming out of my left pocket, and all I've got left in that federal pocket is IOUs. I'm going to ask the citizens at some point to simply take a look at it. December of 2015 is what I look at for a time frame for the airport days board to look at. I don't think that's a bad time frame. I think what it does is it gives them plenty of time to say, hey, are we going to have airport days? What's the economic benefit? Are you going to be able to raise the money? And after that point, you know, I want to be part of the Economic Development Corp. We know that the airport is a big tool for them. I'm simply saying let's set some measurable goals for the airport. That's not a crime, and I don't feel as though I should have to be on the defensive for that either.
Thank you, gentlemen. Question 2. Again, these were given to the candidates in advance. What do you believe is the county's role in economic development?
I'm for the Economic Development Corp. At $15 million for our airport, that's about $174 per person to fund the airport. That's an awesome tool that we have for economic development. The excuse that we're using, that my opponent is using, is that it's not legal. You know, and I look at that. It's 62 cents per capita for the Economic Development Corporation to join that. I think that if the city of Manitowoc, Two Rivers, and Kiel is illegal according to what he's saying, maybe he should report to some law enforcement officer, federal government. I don't know who he reported to, but if we allow this lawlessness to take hold, we're going to have chaos. We might have businesses popping up all over the place just because they joined the EDC. I think we need to get behind them. We need to work together with them and push our community forward. The 150 jobs that we just lost, there's nothing we can do about that. But I believe Manitowoc County can take a lead role working with our cities and say, hey, this is our fate. Let's play these cards. I think it's worth it.
Bob?
Well, my goals on economic development, I have several goals in mind. My first goal is to deliver high-quality government services in an affordable way and at low cost to taxpayers. This is a basic way for affecting the entire economy. We have held the line on tax increases for the past 8 years in a row, and that is an example of that. Then, to provide infrastructure and the environment for a successful economy, namely roads, bridges, the airport, basic services like police, joint dispatch, emergency government, and planning, and do it in a quality way and affordably. We do a lot right now, but we can always do better. Then we must cooperate and get out of the way of a private economy. The key to our prosperity is a growing private sector. We need to be outspoken on this, and we need to take a little less on corporate welfare. Local groups like this one need to speak up about this too. We need support for government efficiency and modernization, and we need you to oppose a sales tax increase and property tax increase. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. The third question is, what are key budget issues that you would like to address regarding the county budget? For example, shared services, infrastructure, personnel, etc. And let's see, Mr. Ziegelbauer.
I also handed out some more materials on this one, and they're at your seat. But Manitowoc County is financially and organizationally strong. We have benefited from good decisions. We have held the line on tax increases for the last 8 years. We plan and prioritize well, and we make good decisions. We solve the problem quickly, and we don't put them off. Capital projects are up to date. Debt is very low, and we are building a surplus with $1 million added to the general fund in 2013. The sales tax is unnecessary, and property tax increases are unnecessary. When I took office, there were about 600 county employees. Today, the number is about 400. Nearly every department is running with less people than when I took office, and every department has undergone significant changes in its management structure. We do a lot of collaborating today. The Joint Dispatch Service is $1,500,000 each year. Police records, the county radio system, the county emergency government, and with it, the planning for nuclear tax. I'm sorry, I didn't.
There'll be
Okay.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ziegelbauer. Mr. Green?
Sales tax, I've come out against it. Enough said. The debt that we have, we are not maintaining our roads. Gary Kennedy last night told me that we're far behind. The PASER report, which is the report card that we use, shows we're about 80 miles behind in road maintenance. You have to pay for that somehow. I don't believe that that's what I would consider maintaining our infrastructure. Page 28 in the 2014 budget. Yeah, we were up quite a huge number of employees. We closed the healthcare center. That decreased the number of employees substantially. If you look at page 28 in the budget, you're going to find out in the last 4 years we were at 387 employees. We are now up to 424 employees. In my math, I don't do the one-sided ledgering thing. That's an increase. Pure and simple. The budget surplus, I saw that. There was $270,000 of delinquent tax revenue, over $300,000 of raised fees for the county government, and there was also a certain amount that was budgeted for, which shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. We have drained our reserve fund to a very dangerous level. In fact, we have drained our reserve fund to the level almost of what we levied for the airport with that one-sided ledgering that you're not seeing, that you're not being told about. Shared services, I absolutely agree that we need to, I believe, we need to begin working with our cities. A question that just doesn't seem to be answered is there's no working with the cities right now. At what point does the county get off the island we're on and say it's time to start working with our cities? I have no problem with that. I've talked to Justin Nichols. I still haven't had the opportunity to talk to Greg Buckley, but we need to get off the island. And start. If not now, when? You know, if our economy, I'm concerned about our federal government. We have we'll bring in 14.
You guys both know the color red, that's good. At this point, we'll open up, in the interest of time, I think just one question from the floor for each candidate, and then we will limit that to a 2-minute response as well. We do have a lot of county board candidates to...
I have a question. Bob's proven that this is a part-time job. If you're elected, will you work to put that on paper and then reduce the pay for a part-time position as well?
The county executive job?
Yes.
It's not a part-time job. He said in the newspapers, on the radio, he said that this is the slow season right here because the budget season really kicks in, a lot of hours and all that. All right, why aren't we working with our cities during the slow season? That's what we need to begin doing. We need to begin that planning process that isn't happening. I asked him, I sent an email to him, I said, show me some numbers, some projections for 2015, 2016. The response is written, it's on my computer. Sent an email back from him, those documents don't exist. Right now is when we need to start planning for that. Right now is when we need to begin planning to close that building on South 9th Street. Right now is when we need to begin restructuring our management structure in Manitowoc County. Right now is when we need to begin that budget process to present to the county board so that they can have an informed decision based on my hard work, putting those numbers together and based on decisions that are made in January with input from our city, with input from the management that we have, with input from the employees that we have. This isn't a part-time job. If that's your perception, well, that's your perception. But I believe this is the time to begin working on the budget for 2015.
Okay, thank you. And I guess your choice, gentlemen, a fresh question for Mr. Ziegelbauer or a response to this question. Fine? That's fine. With your choice. That's fine. Okay, so one question then from the audience for Mr. Ziegelbauer. Yes, sir.
This was actually for Mr. Green, but I was meeting to the bunch, so I'll direct it to Bob. Are you aware of the jobs that are popping up from the EDC that Mr. Green was referring to? That are there any new businesses that I haven't seen anything in the paper that shows, you know, taking vows for their hard work or bringing in new jobs to fast food places?
I don't have any I don't have anything on that, but I don't want to criticize the EDC. I think it's a important private operation that does good work. We plan and we I think the prospects are good from county government, and we plan and we we plan and we have a good handle on all of these things, and I think that it's a strong county government today. Thanks.
No, you each get one. So I'd like to thank the candidates, Mr. Green, Mr. Ziegelbauer. We could have perhaps a round of applause for everything.